medical education is the time after a medical student graduates from college. They are licensed physicians. We've got 33 that are coming to Jackson to train. That training will lead to board certification in the specialty of their choice. We will be starting family medicine, emergency medicine, a general surgery program, and a one-year holding place called a traditional internship. That will go into another residency for those individuals in either a subspecialty such as dermatology and anesthesiology, or they'll go back in and select a program that we have of their choosing. So potential is 33 this year. We'll add another 30 residents next year, and we'll grow out by about 30 per year until we hit about 120 to 140 residents. Interesting part about these physicians is that they've graduated medical school, and about the only thing that they're coming with is a lot of debt at this time. They certainly have about $200,000 to $300,000 of debt. When they graduate from medical school, they're not able to borrow anymore for student loans, which they live on while they're in medical school because they can't work. And this will be their first, what I call cash inflow. So they get a stipend of about $50,000 a year when they're in training. And for some, it sounds like quite a bit of money, but our residents will be working up to 80 hours a week on clinical rotations. So
wow, I thought I worked a lot of hours.
yeah, they put a limit on it. It used to be they would work all sorts of hours up to 120, but now accreditation we're down to 80 hours. But they'll be working in all places of the hospital and around the community, at different offices, at different locations, getting their training. So it's pretty exciting. They get cash inflow, they get experience, and I think Jackson is a wonderful area to train. Allegiance Health really did very well. They've been working on this initiative for about 18 months, and we were very fortunate to fill all of our programs. That's kind of unusual in some of the primary care areas like family medicine that didn't fill across the state. And people want to know, how did you do it? You know, what brought people to Jackson? And I think if you look at the community, it's very welcoming. There's a lot of good things that are going on here. The hospital itself is very intriguing, as well as the focus on community health and their efforts in the way of quality. Those two pieces really have been standout among the comments that we have gotten from the trainees coming in, as well as how welcoming the community is. They've gone around now and have partaked of our local businesses and
our cuisine,
our stores, and you know, when they say that they're new to and coming in, you know, people are very welcoming and offering suggestions. So that hometown feeling goes a long way.
Where are these residents coming from? Yeah.
Well, you know, about 50% of them have Michigan ties. So we try to make sure that we attracted local, because the whole hope is that, you know, they'll stay around and practice after they finish their training. And then the other 50% are from the Midwest predominantly, and then it's national after that. So we have some people who are from Florida who are coming here.
From Portland?
I think we've got people, we've got a couple that are from Washington, maybe one from Portland.
Okay.
Yeah. Got some that came from East Coast.
So are they all like staying at your house, or?
Yeah. Don't laugh, because you know what? My house was open, and I've had several of them that have stayed with me while they were looking for houses.
So you really have to like them, don't you?
Yeah, I was just kidding. Yeah.
No, I really checked these residents out very good. So absolutely. No, and that's been kind of the fun part, is as they've come in, they are living in Jackson, and we've had a few that have been able to purchase homes. We've had some that have rented homes, and we're also now, you know, going through apartments like crazy. So
yeah,
Now,
the word is out. I know
does the
that.
hospital pay for that, or does that come out of the 50?
that comes out of their 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the people who bought a house that has 5 children, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we have one person who's got 5 children.
Wow.
And moved his family from Washington and is excited to be here.
What a smart move, though. Think about that. He's paying less in house payment than he is in rent, probably, especially for that size of family.
Absolutely. So, and that's one of the things that is really attractive. You know, cost of living here is very reasonable, and you know, you put it all together, and we're really a nice package. There's a lot to be said about what we're doing in the community, and I think it will really enhance you know, the offerings through Legion's Health and making sure that we have access to care.
Yeah, I think you'd run into a lot of people that would say, exactly ask that question, why would anybody come to Jackson? But it's not that bad, is it?
You know what? It's great.
Well, you're new to Jackson.
I'm pretty new to Jackson. I've been here less than 2 years, and I'll tell you, I've lived in big cities. I've lived in other places in Michigan. You know, sometimes I think we're our own worst enemies. I mean, we're very centrally located. Cost of living is good. I think that the hometown feeling is great. I've always been impressed with the number of festivals, and it's like we have fireworks, and all the time.
All the time.
It's all the time, and it's like, wow, you know, and for these people who are coming in with
Come
families,
over to my neighborhood. We have them all the time.
I think you do. But, you know, it's really not a bad town. We're conveniently located off of I-94. So, I mean, for those people who have a partner that is looking for work, you know, labor market access is very good being off of the interstate. 127 to Lansing. I mean, you're really in a nice little situation with location, cost of living, and I think we've got a great community. And they're welcoming, so that's the big part. You know, people say that the hospital feels different. I will tell you, from working in a number of them, I think it is a little bit different.
So where did you move here from?
I moved most recently from the state of Washington.
Oh, okay.
But we've been in Michigan 30 years before that, so I was around the Flint area. And
oh, okay.
So.
Have you always been with hospitals?
No, I've worked for 3 medical schools. So.
Okay, but you've been around.
That's why they brought you here, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I wanted to come back to Michigan. I've got 2 grandchildren that are living in Michigan, so you know that's the
and
draw.
we see that a lot in the real estate business. In fact, I'm working with the head of the health department to help them find a place, and they're here because their 6-year-old granddaughter is in Dundee. So this is really appealing for them to have the opportunity to get that job. So
it is. It really is. And you know, it's a great community. There's a lot. I mean, it's beautiful. You know, my husband will laugh because every time we drive down Horton Road or Springbrook and we have the canopies of trees, I'm just in awe. You know, the big oak trees lining the roads.
Yeah, see, we take that for granted.
We're used to it.
Yeah.
It's good for biking. I mean, it's a good community to bike into.
Yeah, a lot of trails.
Well, what do you find unique about Allegiance?
I think it's really nice in that it is really centered on the community health. I haven't worked for another organization that is so focused on the community and wellness and the resources that they put into it to ensure that they've got the full service line so that people don't have to drive an hour away to get assistance is really intriguing. So that, and I think when you go in the hospital, most everybody is very friendly. They're usually smiling. I've been lost a couple times, and people have taken pity on me and you know, escorted me to where I need to go, because hospitals can be confusing. You know, those hallways all look the same, and trust me, even though you work there, you usually know one way in and one way out. So the employees themselves are pretty good about directing people.
I don't think anything's changed, Laura, more than the hospital here in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, even just the name changed.
Yeah, but everything changed about it, really.
Yeah.
It's gone from small to more, would you say?
Regional.
Big
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. It's making that transition into a regional center. I mean, I think when you see what they're doing with residency training, also bringing up trauma, I mean, those are pieces that are really encouraging to this community. You know, the preventative medicine aspect, It's Your Life program. the next gen, the community wide ambulatory medical records. I mean, our residents were intrigued with that. That's not something that you see anywhere else. And Jackson really has that ability to be in the forefront. And it's pieces that we take for granted because we've had it. We're looking at a community, a clinically integrated network for our physicians. That's cutting edge.
What is clinically integrated network?
It's a group of physicians who are working together to improve quality markers across both the offices and the hospital. And so it's really a coordinated effort. And so to see that going into place is really very intriguing and on the forefront. This is something that you wouldn't see in a larger metropolitan area.
Now, is there a reason that the hospital picked these 4 programs?
Well, the focus was really on primary care. That's really where the shortage of physicians is occurring.
Across the country or just in Jackson?
Across the country.
Okay.
We're facing a national shortage of physicians. Michigan is harder hit than other areas. Again, we have a very mature physician base. They're retiring faster than what we can train. And so what they did look at is what are those areas that they're going to need in the future. We'll be bringing up internal medicine in 2014, so that will add to our base. We're also looking at adding psychiatry and also looking at the potential of an OB program. So those all are falling under that umbrella of primary care, which is really being hard hit as our physician base matures and are leaving the workforce.
Now this is brand new to Allegiance. How is this being received by the physician group?
You know, it's really interesting because, you know, we've got some physicians, such as Dr. John Lake, who's been asking to get involved with residency training since he finished medical school.
He's pretty progressive in his thought process, isn't he?
You know, he's a great guy. You know, born and raised in Jackson, and to hear all of his history here, it's been very intriguing. But he knew what a gem it was for training. When he went to medical school and did his residency at the University of Michigan, he was in Chelsea, and he said, I got the best experience when I came to Allegiance Health. He said, I trained one-on-one with physicians. And he goes, the depth of pathology and the patient support, he goes, it was great. So he never knew why they didn't do it beforehand. But I think this is the progression that they chose to do because of ensuring the quality of the hospital. You can see that from the numerous awards that they've won over the years. And I think this is the crowning gem that really they were working for, is to be able to say we've got the quality, we've got pieces in place, and now we want to bring in our physicians and start training.
I had a question on my head. Oh, are your residents going to have time to visit stores and go out to eat and,
you know,
enjoy the community?
Residents always make time. You know, it's interesting. Of those, we probably have a third that have families, and those I'm sure will be enjoying our parks and our community a little bit more.
That many have families.
Yep, a lot.
So what's the average age of the resident?
Well, you know, I really don't know the average age, but they run from about 28 up to about 42, 44.
Wow.
We have a couple of them that are non-traditional. One that has retrained from an environmental background. We've got one person who was long-term military, PA, did a couple stints in Afghanistan and Iraq, and went back to medical school, and will be joining us. So we've got a wide variety of physicians coming in. Very few have gone through normal progression of going from a bachelor's degree to medical school. They typically have had some life experience along the way of work experience or volunteer experience. So.
Well, when we were on vacation in Ireland just recently, we were at a pub, and there were two young people from Michigan that were, when they were done with their travels, were heading out to D.C., I think, for their residency.
Yeah.
So I told them about Allegiance. I was trying to woo them in, They didn't know about it. But that goes through some kind of extensive random, when I went to that meeting you had some, I mean, you don't pick them, they kind of.
It's called the match.
Okay.
And the match is, honestly, it's like a lottery, and it's probably the most stressful piece that anybody can go through in their life. So when you're in medical school and you're getting ready to graduate, you go out and extensively look across the country at where you have programs in the specialty you're looking at. And then you apply to those programs. You'll be asked to come in for an interview. Once you're done interviewing, you really don't know if you have a position or not. What happens is they have to create a rank order list of those programs that they desire in the order that they would like them. The program then has to put in a rank order list in the way that they want those applicants, and it goes into this national program, and all I can tell you is they turn the crank and they go through an algorithm that matches up those people who want them and the people that want the program. And I always tell everybody, if you don't want the program or you don't want the applicant, don't put it on the list, because it's Murphy's Law, you're going to get it. And
so if someone pulled Jackson, for example, or
Mhm.
Allegiance, and they didn't really want to come to Jackson or Allegiance, they will be here.
They will be here.
Okay.
Yep. It's a binding agreement. So
and then
you're
if
here.
I wanted to go to Allegiance or Jackson, it's possible that it's possible I wouldn't end up here.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
Does Allegiance have a goal on, like, how many of these residents they would like to keep, or is that on a case-by-case basis? Or?
You know, I really believe that what we're looking at is keeping about 50% of what we train, just because of the attrition coming up in the future. You know, when you look at the maturity of our physicians.
That's a lot.
Yep. When you look at the maturity of what we've got and the exiting of the workforce, I think that it really is a good time to jump in. Also, the Accountable Care Act, which is going to expand the access to care, is going to demand that we have more primary care physicians available. So I think between the two of those pending events, it really makes a lot of sense to do physician training. And just like you said, you know, when they're here and in training with you, you really get a good look at, you know, their work ethic and what they can do, their clinical expertise, and you decide whether or not those are going to be a good fit for your organization. And I believe Allegiance Health puts a lot of thought into fit. It really is making sure that they're involved in that community, that they respect the community values, and the whole push with safety and quality of care.
When you've gotten all your residents, because you're adding about 30 per 2 times a year, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that's about 5 years, you'll get to the 140, 150, whatever.
Correct.
Once you get to that level, is there a steady turnover at that point?
Yes, there is. And so what will happen is, as they graduate the program, and each of these have a different length. So they run anywhere from about 3 years to 5 years. So you'll cycle through a new class. So every year we'll be cycling in probably about 30 residents.
Oh, okay. So it'll stay consistent. Well, that's exciting. So I think it's a great program. Is Allegiance have this up on their website, or is there any place to get more information on it?
We do have a link off of our website, and it's Graduate Medical Education, so you can go there and get more information. We'll be adding to it as we get our residents in. They're arriving, and we're going to start orientation the last week in June.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. I think that's great. Real quick, I have an open house 1 to 3 on Sunday, Father's Day.
Call a resident.
Have some of your residents
All
come.
right.
It's on North Crystal Lake Road, and I have the address as 1811 North Crystal, but if you put that into your GPS, it's not going to work. So I don't really know what the address is, but it's the first, if anybody knows Crystal Lake, it's a non-motorized lake.
I don't know where it is.
It's the first road on the west side of, off of Jackson, south of Vickery. And follow the signs. It is a very cool private house on a channel to Crystal Lake, and it's listed for $239. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, just a walkout basement. It's a very nice one. And then I have a placemaking presentation today at noon. We've got a grant from the Michigan Association of Realtors and matching money from the Community Foundation.
Did you hear that on the news all morning?
Well, I'm
Okay.
just reinforcing it.
All right, good.
At noon at the Jackson Area Association of Realtors. So if you've got some really cool ideas
Now,
about
I did call them
improvement-
yesterday to ask the question, what is placemaking?
Okay. And you called
Did-
who?
Whoever answered the phone.
Where at
Jar.
the board? Oh, at Jar. And
Yeah.
they didn't know the answer, did they?
Well, they Melissa wasn't there.
Oh,
So
okay.
I said,
Well,
Laura can answer that question.
Yeah, the placemaking is where you're changing, you're using your current assets to make it appealing and people fall into fun. It could be something as simple as putting concrete chess tables in an alley in downtown Jackson and people can just come and play chess at their leisure. It could be a green farmer's market at the Allegiance Hospital.
Okay.
There's so many different things. It's very cool. Come find out more about it at
Today at noon.
Today at noon. And there's grant and you can application.
Oh, you have lunch too.
Yes.
Lunch.
And then the other thing is we're doing an amazing race. It'd be great if Allegiance sponsored it. It's all about walkability. There's sponsorships. You can participate. Walking, biking, bus, and a little bit of canoeing, and it's all kind of within the city limits because of the bus system. So August 17th, and you can call us at our office for more information on that. That is going to be a lot of fun. 780-3800.